All right, so let's get right into it. Let's get right into this. Underneath his suit, he's actually a creamy white. He's like a human creamsicle. I would believe that, unfortunately. Although maybe with like liver spots and shit, he might be like speckled. He might look like an egg, like a chicken egg. He might look like an egg. I think I could agree with that. Let's take a look at this. We've got some interesting stuff here. So, for all of you who don't know, Donald Trump attempted to make, or I should say he didn't attempt to make, they set up what was called a Citizens Academy with ICE. ICE being, I mean, everybody knows what ICE is. ICE is our immigration and customs enforcement agency. They were established during the Bush era, and they have become somewhat notorious. Yeah, ice is how you keep your drink cold. Exactly. I got plenty of ice in here. I wish that was all that ice was. No, ICE is a brutal, highly armed group that largely cracks down on undocumented people in this country, puts them in camps. ICE is the ones responsible for running the concentration camps on our borders, which absolutely, by any definition, meet basically every definition of a concentration camp you can imagine. This has been ongoing. It's only gotten the issues with the concentration camps on the border have only gotten worse as time has gone on. And as it turns out, ICE is incredibly loyal to Donald Trump. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that Donald Trump's organization for clamping down on immigration would be his most loyal institution? Yeah, defund ICE. Not just defund, abolish ICE. ICE is a totally unnecessary, highly militarized group that operates within our country and basically only serves to target people, constantly gets false positives. They target people and profile people heavily based on race. They regularly do things like stopping buses at random just to question people for paperwork that they may or may not have. Even citizens may not have their paperwork on them when they're traveling. They might have certain types, but they might not, especially if they are lower income. So yeah, ICE is basically terrible. And recently, Donald Trump pushed for the establishment of what was called a Citizens Academy, which they insisted was not trying to teach citizens how to arrest people, but basically was teaching citizens how to target and profile and assist in the identification of potential illegal immigrants. However, Donald Trump's actions are not without resistance. As reported by Newsweek here, ICE was flooded with thousands of fake applications for their Citizens Academy. Okay, but Ace Man X, like, he's barely like anti-war, and by anti-war it's just that he is literally terrified of personally going to war, of like personally being involved with the direction of war, but he's set up so much shit for war. And if Donald Trump, the next Republican or the next right winger who's going to go in office is going to have a complete a completely open field for going to war. You like the way he says China? It's really weird to me how he says China. It's like, I don't know, it's almost become like a brand to him, I think. But yeah, like keep in mind that while Donald Trump himself has not though Donald Trump has not like directly engaged in warfare, keep in mind that like his tampering on with huge accomplishments in foreign policy, for example, the greatest example of course being the Iran deal, has been more than like while it's not open war, the economic sanctions that followed as a result of his failure to continue with the Iran deal, which was considered a a historic diplomatic achievement. His absolute inability to follow up with that, and then his subsequent use of economic sanctions against Iran has led to an incredible amount of death and suffering. So while he's not, while he himself is able to like sort of not start any wars, he's certainly built the conditions for wars to start, and he's certainly put many nations in an economic position where war is much more likely. Keep in mind that when nations become deeply impoverished and their people are suffering, they are much more likely to have to engage in war in order to stay alive or in order to keep their country going. It's just a fact of existence. If you choke out a country economically and you give them no option for growth or no option for response, their answer is almost always going to be war with their neighbors over resources, especially in areas of the world where there's already a lot of conflict. So his involvement, Donald Trump and his administration, their involvement in absolutely, figuratively, nobody. Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. Prime example, Japan during World War II versus the US. Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, this is sort of like typical this is like typical US imperialistic tampering on a world stage. Essentially, you can make yourself look like you're anti-war while you're still essentially enacting incredible violence onto people of other countries via complete economic domination. You think the Iranian government is sound as fair? Isn't honor killing a thing there? Or is that another one of the 12 Islamic-based countries that support it? No, I do not think the Iranian, I don't think the Iranian, I think is the term. I do not think the Iranian government is like some sort of perfect entity, but I'm also capable of acknowledging simple facts of politics. If you give a country no other option, if their people are starving and dying, which by the way, Iran is one of the nations on the planet who was worst impacted by COVID-19 because of our actions, because we were putting sanctions on them that made it incredibly difficult for them to get medical equipment that they needed, for them to get things like masks, like PPE, like treatments, like hospital gowns. Our economic sanctions have made it very hard for their government to take care of their people in that way. When you do something like that in the midst of a pandemic, that puts a country in desperate straits. So economic sanctions are something that need to be taken seriously as a precursor to wars. If you're economically sanctioning, and keep in mind, we're economically sanctioning Iran for basically no reason. Donald Trump has no good reason for why we did that. He let the Iran deal fail completely and increased tensions with Iran over and over again, just for no reason. We had the deal in place, and it was considered like almost unilaterally across the world. Iran agreed to it. That's why it was such a big deal. I mean, they had agreed and followed, and they had agreed to and followed every single one of the things within the Iran deal. They were following the rules. Every single source besides us said that they were doing it. We were the only ones who decided that all of a sudden we were going to blow up one of their most beloved generals. That was our decision. We were the aggressors there. You can try and make apologia for America, but regardless of past conflicts with Iran, there was progress being made. And in fact, the Iran deal was considered to be one of the greatest accomplishments leading up previous to the election of Donald Trump. It was an incredible effort by our diplomatic departments to actually like establish some progress in an area that's been war torn forever. So yeah, like he fucked up really big. Absolutely, he fucked up. So the idea that Donald Trump is like an anti-war candidate just doesn't play out. Not only is he like, yeah, is he really reluctant to actually get involved in armed conflict? Of course, but he's setting up the conditions for regional wars all across the planet. He's destroyed and burned the bridges of so many diplomatic relations that we've had. Donald Trump has been a disaster on the world stage. Wait, What the fuck are you talking about, Ace Man? Ace Man, am I going to have to time you out? Are you going to be, like, completely dumb in my chat? I have not defended the general. We blew up. I don't care. It has nothing to do with whether or not the general himself was a good person. It's the fact that we, a sovereign nation from across the planet, who were currently engaged in an incredibly complicated and a historically difficult to win diplomatic agreement we had made with the country of Iran. We then chose to drop a bomb on one of their most beloved generals. Whether or not the general is a good guy or whether or not he would cut my head off like the scum he was has nothing to do with our behavior there. Holy shit, I can't believe I'm getting so fucking mad already. Like, how could you drop a take so dumb in my chat? Oh shit, okay. Well, all right, we get everyone, we get free emoticons on here. We're gonna have free emoticons up on the screen today because so many people redeemed points last time. So yeah, free. Yeah, that was a big reach, my dude. That was a huge reach, and I would appreciate it if you're gonna talk to me about like trans stuff, you better bring it up for a good reason, because that's like really fucking weird. I don't believe so. I don't believe that was their entire thing. Let's take a look. Let's take a quick look. Let's see. 2020. This is like July. This was like this month that they've even had stuff. Yeah, they restarted their nuclear program because we violated the deal and we called it off. So of course they're going to do that. That's why it's considered so fucking stupid. I don't see any evidence here. If you have evidence or a source that we can go over that claims that previous to us calling off the deal with Iran, that they were testing nuclear weapons, I would love to see it. I have seen no such evidence of that, and I feel like that would have been widely reported if that were the case. I mean, okay, but you could say that. I mean, would you be perfectly fine? Would you then be okay if, like, I don't know, would you be okay if like a foreign nation like bombed one of our cities and like, or blew up a military base and killed a bunch of people and also happened to kill one of our generals who were bad? Keep in mind, like, a lot of our generals are fucking terrible people too, right? So are you okay with that? Are you okay with just sort of like wantonly blowing people up at our whim? Like, you realize why that's like a huge problem, right? You realize why you can't just like shoot a bomb into somebody else's country at random, right? You realize why that's a huge issue, and you realize why another country would be fucking mad about that. Like, or are you so stuck in like Americentrism that you can't actually see why it would be bad for a foreign nation to just shoot a missile in and blow up a base that your people built that had one of the generals that was popular in your country, regardless of whether that person was right, regardless of whether people liked him for good reasons or bad? Like, are you that jingoistic that you believe that we just have the right to just shoot missiles into other people's sovereign lands and blow up people that are like important to their country for one reason or another? I don't know. That seems pretty fucked to me. That seems like that basically leads to a world where there's just constant war. So that doesn't seem like a very anti-war position to me. I don't know. Damn, we got off topic really fast. Hey, everybody in chat, welcome. I see we've had a big insurge of people. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate it. Yeah, I would love to hear what you have to say about that. It was nuclear-based weapon delivery systems. They essentially tested Scud missiles with weapons delivery systems capable of sending a nuke as far as they possibly can, which also broke the deal. Do you have a source on that? I would really love to see your source on that, because I've never heard of this. And I feel like that would be a pretty big talking point if that was the case. I feel like that would have been basically international news if Iran broke the Iran deal before we decided to blow up their general. That would be really, really fucking interesting to me. If you have a source on that, I would love to see it. I would fucking love it. But I have a feeling that it's probably going to be like Stormfront or something like that. Some random website, some random complete conspiracy theory website that pumps out Trump propaganda so that they can post hoc justify why Donald Trump is such an idiot that he would destroy one of the most monumental foreign policy agreements in recent memory. Yeah, exactly. Basically, every single organization that monitors this stuff said that they were adhering to the deal. It was actually progress. Yeah, I don't know. I don't believe this. Let's take a look. This is from 2015. This is from, also, it's a 404. My dude. Hold on. I realized the link broke. Hold on. Here, I'm going to fix it. This is from 2015. Let's see. Where does this stop talking about it? Much lower threat from Iran's... Hold on. Use necessary cookies only. This only talks about stuff up to 2012. You tried. Wait, you don't have evidence that they broke said protocol. Where is the protocol? Where is the evidence that they broke the protocol? I'm sorry. This just seems like conspiracy shit. Until I see evidence of this, I'm sorry. This is just, yeah. Sorry. It was I apologize for saying it was a 404. But it was because the link broke when you posted it, and I had to adjust. It did go to a 404 the way that it was posted in chat, but then I realized that it was that there was a apostrophe that broke the link. I don't know. I've not seen any evidence of this. I've never heard of this. Okay, I get it. You fucking hate Trump, but you've also made the statement that Donald Trump is fucking anti-war, which he isn't. He's avoided war, which doesn't mean that he's anti-war. That just means that he is personally nervous about being in charge of the country while we go into war. That doesn't mean that like he's an anti-war president, and his actions on the global stage have been ridiculous. I mean, have you seen, like, did you see how he threw our own diplomats under the bus during the whole Ukraine situation? Like, for real. Like, that's just ridiculous. Donald Trump has destroyed our international diplomacy. Our international diplomacy, which is important for not going to war. So yeah, while Donald Trump himself maybe hasn't gone to war, he certainly isn't an anti-war president. Yes, and he has exactly a Totonoaji, and that's not even to say about his behavior in this country. I mean, he literally was on Twitter, which is like a huge public platform, talking about how we needed to liberate states, just with no fucking what's the word that I'm thinking of here? With no fucking wow, I'm brain farting on the word. No considerations, basically. No fucking asterisks. Just, oh, we need to just fucking liberate Minnesota. We need to liberate Michigan. Like, what the fuck? Do you know how irresponsible that is for a president to say something like liberate a state that he oversees? That is essentially that is stoking civil war. I don't know. It's from 2015 because it's the actual deal. Yeah, but wait. If the deal was made and was upheld in 2015, and then it was upheld since 2015, which, as from all reports I've ever read, Iran was upholding their part of the deal, and we were the ones who decided to exit the nuclear deal. Which was, by the way, disadvised by every single other country that we're allied with who was involved in it. They all said, no, don't do it. Don't leave the deal. And yet we still did. So, I don't know. I don't see where there's any sort of case to be made Yeah, you gave me a protocol that they agreed to in 2015. This has nothing to do with evidence that they broke the deal. Like, I mean, you realize that our country, why did we leave the deal again? Oh, nobody fucking knows. Because that was Donald Trump and his administration's random shit. Because he had fucking John Bolton pushing for fucking conflict with Iran. That's why we left the deal. We left the deal because a whole bunch of people in Donald Trump's inner circle were saying, hey, we should go to war with Iran. You can't trust Iran. Bolton keeps, here's extensive reporting from then. Bolton keeps trying to goad Iran into war. Donald Trump and Bolton clashed over Iran. Trump and John Bolton sparred over lifting Iran sanctions. Yeah, Obama did a whole bunch of things. Yeah, true, Puff. I mean, if you can find me evidence that they broke the deal in a significant way and like that was why Donald Trump wanted to end it, I would be interested in reading that. Nonetheless, I still think that's probably not a good reason to end the Iran deal, even if they had a minor violation, but I never heard of any of this shit. And also, keep in mind that other people who were involved in the deal did not advise him to leave the deal because the deal was still good. So there's like a number of issues with this. Yeah, Donald Trump's approach to foreign policy has been basically like a giant toddler just smearing shit around on the ground. Like, he has no fucking clue what he's doing. He's completely disrupted our foreign policy. And not that Obama was like some sort of pillar, but if you'll remember what we had before Obama, we had a completely invented war, a war that was invented out of claims of weapons of mass destruction, which never had any evidence. They were completely fucking fabricated. And this has become only more clear as time has gone on. And it's been shoved into a memory hole by the Republican Party because the Republican Party doesn't want anyone to realize that we killed millions of people over nothing. Just for our understanding, we pulled out and or broke the deal first. So even if Iran took actions that broke protocol, it was after the deal was null and void. As far as I can tell, yes, Iran has restarted their nuclear program, which is a rational action for a country to do when the world's foremost nuclear power backs out of a deal with you and continues to sanction your country economically after blowing up one of your generals. When you weren't involved in an armed conflict, they shoot a missile and kill one of your generals. It is a totally rational thing for a country to restart their arms program. I'm not saying that Iran's a good country or that all their leaders are good people or that their country has good morals or anything like that, but it's a completely rational and understandable. All right, let's take a look here. This is from 2018. Okay, so from 2 years ago. Trump administration had major qualms with Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, prompting the U.S. withdrawal in May. So this is after the withdrawal. All right. These included the sunset provisions, which provide expiration dates for certain restrictions, and it's narrow targeting of Iran's nuclear program without addressing the continued enhancement of its ballistic arsenal, which enables the regime's malign activity. These included sunset provisions. Okay, so this is Trump. Trump is mad about certain provisions of the deal. So this right here, what this says right here in the source that you just provided me, says that Trump's problem was with issues in the deal. So this doesn't have anything to do with, like, okay, we're going to keep reading, but right now, as according to this article, this says that Trump had problems with the existing deal, which was part of, yeah. Yes. The Trump administration had qualms with the comprehensive plan of action. This is the Iran deal. They had problems with it, which prompted them to withdraw. Iran has in fact made advancements in the precision and strategic military value of its ballistic missile arsenal, expanding upon its use as a deterrent to include more advanced offensive capabilities that threaten foreign military infrastructure. Okay, this doesn't say that this is in violation of the deal. The establishment of ballistic missile defense system by the U.S. Israel, Gulf Arab states has pushed the Islamic Republic to consider alternative ways to defeat these systems because of the country's outdated air force. Okay, this again is not a violation of the deal. They're just coming up with new ways to protect themselves, which is perfectly within the deal. Blows a timeline of Iranian ballistic missile developments from 1985 to present. Okay, this is a giant, long history of all of them. This, not literally, you've sent me another article that does not say what you say it says. This does not say they violated the deal at all. This is just a history of their ballistic missile inventory, and it says explicitly in the first line that the Trump administration withdrew from the deal because they felt they had problems with the deal at the start, which goes back to what I was saying, which is that this deal was widely considered by basically every single organization that has a say in this in the world besides Donald Trump, that it was a good deal. Donald Trump and his administration had issues with the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, thinking that it wasn't severe enough. Okay, that's just Donald Trump going back on the deal. You've given me evidence for my argument here. There is still no evidence that they violated the deal. Yeah, exactly, Otono no Aji. Donald Trump basically said, I don't like it. I don't like it. Okay. Oh, my God. Now you've changed your argument, Ace Man. Now you've changed your argument. Now you're saying, oh, it was a bad deal. Well, if you think maybe it was a bad deal, that's fine. But apparently, nearly every single expert on the issue did not think that. The Iran deal was considered to be one of a major accomplishment. Yeah, you can't say they broke the deal if Donald Trump just said, it's a bad deal, I don't like it, it's a sham, and then backed out of it. And then also keep in mind, wait, where does it go over them? Where does it do that? Where does it say that? I don't see that. Iran unveiled the is tested with an operational. This is after the deal broke. This is 2018. The deal was broken in May of 2018 by us. Sorry, I just don't see evidence. Even this doesn't say that these were in violation of the deal. There's nothing here that says that there was. I mean, I'm not an expert on the exact text of the Iran deal. Like literally, there are diplomats who do this for a living. But I think that we can come to conclusions about large things by saying, wow, there are all of these organizations and multiple State Departments of nations involved in the deal said they thought that Iran was living up to the deal and that we shouldn't go out of the deal. But Donald Trump, after keep in mind that Donald Trump's administration has a lot of people who want a war with Iran, who have wanted a war with Iran for a long time, including John Bolton. That these people in here were guiding the administration to back out of a peace deal with Iran to increase the chances that a war would begin. Now, just because Donald Trump didn't actually go to war, but still destroyed the deal and still blew up one of their generals. Like, all right, again, so far, no evidence that they violated the deal. So again, it shouldn't be this hard. If Iran violated the weapons deal, like, what do you think? Do you think that there's like a global conspiracy to hide evidence about Iran breaking a deal? Or do you think that it's possible that Donald Trump said, they break the deal, because he constantly lies all the time? And he's like, oh, they broke the deal first. And he was post hoc justifying why his idiotic approach to the Iran deal made him look like a fool on the global stage, and he tried to pin it on the other guys. No, nobody was. In fact, that's why people were mad that Donald Trump pulled out of it, because they were following the deal. By all evidence, they were following the deal. And everyone knew that the moment the deal was called off, that it would be perfectly rational for any nation to start their nuclear program back up after they exit a deal with one of the world's foremost nuclear powers. Okay, just for a second, Put yourself in the position of a country having to do negotiations with America. You're like, okay, the wealthiest nation in the world with the most advanced military. Wait, the deal is off. The deal is off. What are you talking about, Ace Man? Okay, do you understand how a deal works? When you make a deal, you come together and you go, we agree, we will stop making nuclear weapons, or we'll stop developing nuclear weapons in this way if you promise to do these things. And then Iran said, okay, that's a great deal. And then America said, fuck it, the deal's off. And so Iran says, all right, then we're going to keep making nuclear weapons. I'm confused, though. The provisions in the deal Trump was mad about were provisions he was mad about because, according to the article, they had an expiration date. He was mad that the provisions would end, so he ended them himself. Didn't he just speed up the problem? Yes! This is why people were saying that Donald Trump was fucking stupid for breaking out of the Iran deal. This is why it was considered so monumentally dumb. Such a bad, like an unbelievably bad move. Yes, there were certain provisions in the deal that certain people thought were bad, but that doesn't mean the deal itself was bad. And Donald Trump didn't accomplish his own goals in leaving the deal. All he did was worsen things for everyone. Like, I can't believe we're having this conversation right now. I feel like holy shit. Anyway. All right, so I think we can put this conversation to rest. If you, listen, honestly, Ace Man, if you find good evidence that Donald Trump was doing it because left the deal, not because of a post hoc justification after fucking... I don't think this discussion is entirely accurate because the deal wasn't Iran plus U.S. It had other parties, so the U.S. withdrawal didn't end it completely as such. I thought that the U.S.'s withdrawal essentially negated the deal. Like, I thought that was a huge part of it. I could be wrong. Maybe that isn't it. But I can also understand why, like, a country like Iran, I mean, he is orange. That's true. Like, I can understand completely why Iran wouldn't take a deal seriously once the foremost nuclear power on the planet backs out of it. Like, isn't the main thing to be that you're like, okay, we're not going to get nuked by the United States. EU tried to keep it alive, although I don't know tons about this. Yeah, I mean, all right, I'd be willing to have a conversation. I'd be willing to have a conversation about whether the EU like has justification for being mad at Iran or whatever. But I mean, as far as the United States is concerned, we fucked that up big time. Yeah, nobody can. This is why it's considered this is why Donald Trump has been so disastrous for foreign policy. He's basically ruined our trustworthiness he's completely ruined our trustworthiness on an international level. Like, no one trusts our country anymore. Sky is green. Oh, thanks for the follow. Hey, I hope your pain subsides as soon as possible, Tony ABC. I've had small surgery like dental surgery before, and it takes a little while, but it usually heals relatively quick. I do think the U.S. Oh, you don't think the U.S. withdrawal was good. I just think it was important to point out the role of other parties. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think I can't really speak to whether the EU has complaints against Iran. They might. I'm sure there's been all kinds of... I mean, there's been constant conflict between Iran and other world powers. I mean, for a number of reasons. Like, the history of Iran is really complicated and interesting. But it's like... But we can't really, we also we're also, again, we're sort of ignoring the fact that we bombed one of their leaders while he was visiting. We, a sovereign nation, bombed a leader of another sovereign nation in a third party nation. So our military presence in Iraq was used to kill one of Iran's generals in Iraq. Like, we are pretty much in the wrong in every single way that I can imagine on that. So it just seems weird to me to try and use that to try try to use that to justify like Donald Trump being an anti-war president or something like that. And last heard, Europe was also upset with the U.S. for pulling out. True. Yeah, Europe was pretty mad at us for pulling out because it basically meant that they spent years working on a deal, expending money, paying diplomats, and then we just fucked it up overnight. Okay, well, I cannot get behind that type of mentality. Like, if that's the justification, then you would be asking for a world of perpetual war. Like, you're asking for, you're giving carte blanche approval for us to just blow up whoever we happen to think is bad. Like, that's just you cannot have any sort of functional world. You cannot have any sort of functional government in a world where you just kill anyone that you think that you disagree with. Yeah, we need to, yeah, I guess so, Atono no Aji, you know, like, I don't know. True Leveler says, certainly it's not up to the U.S. to determine if a deal is being upheld after they've withdrawn from it. That's for the parties who are still in it to determine. Absolutely. I mean, I agree with you 100%. Yeah, also, I don't know. This just gets really messy. Like, again, keep in mind, my comments on this whole thing have nothing to do with the individual morality of each party involved. If we're really talking about it, literally every single party involved in the Middle East is soaked in blood. Every single party is soaked in blood. However, that doesn't just mean that we can say, oh yeah, this is okay. It's okay for us to just throw a bomb at whoever we want and kill them whenever we want, regardless of whether there's a war or not. I mean, we kind of do that anyway, because what are people going to do? We have a whole bunch of nukes. We bully the world all the time, but that doesn't mean it's a good thing or a right thing or that it's conducive to a peaceful future. That's what's really important. Like, yeah, it's a huge gray area, but we have to keep in mind that, like, there are people who've devoted their entire lives to trying to make that gray area, like, safer and less bloody. And Donald Trump basically just came in and fucking upturned the table. Like, imagine if you had, like, taken, like, okay, this is such a bad faith argument. Like, oh my God. All right. Haha, no, I don't. We don't really fund the world, actually. We fund ourselves really well. We do not really fund the world. I mean, we fund certain things, but by comparison, we're actually rather, you know, stingy, given how incredibly rich we are. Yeah. We're the richest nation on the planet. We don't even fund our own people. But true Leveler. I agree with you by and large, but at the same time, I just want people to recognize the absurdity of claiming that we have a moral right to kill the leaders of other countries in a third-party country that we already went to war with. That, like, we can, on completely invented reasons, too. We went to war in Iraq, an incredibly bloody conflict, a completely, like, what's the right word? Unequal conflict, where we had an incredible amount of military power. We invaded their country, tortured and killed millions of their people, and then we now use that as a place where we kill the leaders of other countries. Do you not realize how horrifically unconducive to peace that is? You're a fuck everyone but Israel kind of guy. Wait, are you like a Zionist? Is that what it is? Is it like a Zionism thing? I mean, I do not think highly of the state of Israel. They're basically running an apartheid state, but all right. At the time of his death, Iran was facing very serious internal issues. His death created a new martyr and helped bolster the currently existing regime. Even through the lens of weirdo, bloodthirsty neocons, it makes no sense to do what they did. Yes, it was literally nonsensical. Donald Trump's actions on the global scale indicate that he has no idea what he's doing, and he's just sort of making decisions at random. Wait, you're not sure if my hand gestures are ironic or not? What do you mean? Like doing this thing? I move my hands a lot. I make a lot of motions. I'm a very, like, hand-talking person. Oh, because he does this? Yeah, I guess. No, I wave with my hands a lot. I'm a very visual speaker. Trump is orange. True. Trump is orange. Very true. I mean, I don't know. I think it's kind of silly to take an approach to the Middle East that just says fuck everyone. I mean, the Middle East is a region that's been like deeply destabilized by us and Russia and like we've caused tons of conflict there for seemingly no reason except for to self-enrich. Oh no, you're not. You're good. Yeah. Oof. Yeah, I know. The thing is, I do this like frequently just because that's how I talk. Like I'm just like boop, you know what I mean? Like I guess it's just something that I do. Like I motion a lot. So I'm always afraid that people are going to come across my video and see me doing this and think I'm like some kind of fucking rightoid or something. Hey, thank you so much for the subscription. Ooh, I got to mark that down. Hey, look, see, we're making progress on the goal. Wait. I can't believe we're gonna do this. I guess we're gonna talk about the Middle East a whole bunch. Hey, whoa, Prime sub. Thank you so much. There we go. I got 2 markers down. I can add to the goal later. Thank you so much, Puff. Deeply appreciate it. Thank you all, and thank you so much, Faye. Very, very, very much appreciative. See, this is why I usually... Oh, by the way, this is why I usually hold a pen, because then I'm less likely to do the stupid fucking motions that I don't even think about. Oh, shit. Whoa, wait a minute. We got a fucking scam train. You've triggered the 3rd scam train that this channel has ever had. So, of course, if anyone wishes to level up the hype train, please feel free, but figuratively nobody. Thank you so much for the gifted sub. It means the world to me because, as we know from our NPR discussion and how much we all love that message, this channel is made possible because of viewers like you. Truly, your generosity is what makes it go. Your generosity is what inspires me, and your presence is what inspires me to get on and talk about shit every single day. So thank you all so much. You know what? I wish that they could do... Wait, now they say Comcast? Wait, what? What says Comcast? Oh no, do they? That's terrible. Oh no, that's terrible. That makes me sad. Listen, it will always be the viewers that make NPR possible, because if nobody... Well, actually, I don't know. I guess that's not really true. However, it is true here. So you don't have to worry about it because it's not fucking Comcast that makes it possible, even though I do have Comcast internet. So in a weird way, I have to have Comcast in order to be able to broadcast, but it's you guys that make it possible because I don't give a shit. I've had Comcast for years, and I never did streaming until I realized I could talk to all of you. I know, but that's part of the fun. I'm glad that you succeeded in your goal. And we had an interesting conversation nonetheless. I have a feeling that we have a couple other people here who want to talk about the Middle East. Oh, holy shit. Thank you, ACAB Brick. Oh, shit. Look at that. Level 2. Level 2. We hit a level 2. I got to put those bits down. Look at this. I'm putting everything in my notes so I can update the goal. I'm trying so hard to get a new CPU for editing, because yesterday I posted on YouTube, I posted my new video, but it took 3.5 hours to export. Ooh. Oh, I just saw that. Give me a second. 200 bits. Now you get the dab. Look at that. Dabbing. What we should do in the Middle East is stop fucking around and take peace seriously. Atone no Aji, don't make me bonk you. I'm gonna have to get a bonk emote for stuff like that. Bonk. We're not going into that shit today. Okay, listen. Someday I might do a QAnon stream where we talk about QAnon conspiracies. But right now, I'm like, there's a pretty good chance that if I start talking about it, if I do a QAnon stream, that a QAnon person will bust through my window and beat me to death with a fucking cell phone. So yeah, we will do that someday. But I think we're going to have to be prepared and do some research for that. Because the QAnon shit is wild. It's wild. I can't even keep up with it. They move so fast, it's unfathomable. They have some of the wildest conspiracies I've ever seen. Okay, if you thought that like the conspiracy world was drying up, that it's like, oh damn, we haven't had any alien sightings lately. We haven't had any Paul is dead stuff recently. Well, we're going to have like a decade's worth of shit for conspiracy theorist people to dig through and talk about and gawk at. So, yeah. Oh, I know, that's so disturbing, figuratively nobody. Also, I don't know if I called you up by name, but figuratively nobody, thank you so much for the gifted tier 1 sub. Means the fucking world. So let's bring the focus back in real quick, because we've now talked for like 50 minutes about Iran when the original topic, was ICE. We were going to talk about ICE. So let's do this. The U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency has been flooded with thousands of bogus applications for a controversial new Citizens Academy focused on its enforcement and removal operations unit. So this is what I was talking about. They made a Citizens Academy which trains people on their tactics for enforcement and removal, which, as we know, is profiling and targeting undocumented people. I do remember that. I do remember that figuratively nobody. Well, I like your new name too. It's great. Also, Ace, I wouldn't consider myself a Mao fan. I haven't read enough of Mao or done enough history on Mao to be able to make a broad statement about it. I think there were some certainly really interesting things, but I wouldn't consider myself a Mao fan. I don't really consider myself a fan of any historical figure, really. ICE is pretty important stuff. Until America stops tyranny in its own borders, it has no leg to stand on when criticizing other countries. True. Hey, thank you, an anonymous cheerer. Oh my god, that's so cute. It's a little ghost. What the fuck? That's so cute. Oh my god. I love it. Holy shit. That's so cute. Oh my god. Yeah, I think Mao had some interesting things. I know he really didn't like landlords, and it's true. I also really don't like landlords. And I also did see that Mao has returned from the grave. He was spotted in an airport. Imagine that. But anyway, let's get to this real quick. Hey, we did this. We got to a level fucking 2, I think. Hell yeah, look at that. I got a choo-choo hype chest. Nice. Oh yeah. Thank you all for all of your generosity. We got 3 subs and 230 bits. That's fucking awesome. So, let's talk about this. So, a lot of times on this channel, we talk about, gee, how can I make a difference? The world is blowing up, and there's all kinds of terrible things. And this is an example of how people can make a difference. Because a group called Never Again Action, who I've followed on Twitter for a very, very long time, they're a Jewish political action group that is devoted to anti-fascist organizing. They're fucking really cool, and they did something really awesome, which is once information was leaked that Donald Trump was beginning to create a Citizens Academy for ICE that would train random citizens on, despite their claims, oh, we're not actually teaching them how to arrest people, but we're teaching them how we do it. We're teaching them how we do it, and we're showing them that if they want to become an ICE person, this is how you do it. Wink, wink, wink. Then they decided to do something really fucking cool. A flood of fake applications was prompted by a call to action from Never Again Action, a Jewish political group campaigning to abolish ICE that draws its name from the Never Again slogan invoked in reference to the Holocaust. ICE is asking the public to apply to be a part of their Armed Vigilante Citizens Academy. Never Again Action said in a tweet, "Oh yes, by the way, that was part of the Citizens Academy. Part of the Citizens Academy was training people how to use arms and how to get weaponry." It's a little weird. It stretches credibility when you claim you're not training people to go arrest people, and then you say, "Hey, here's how you use a gun. Here's how you get a gun. Here's how you can arrest somebody. Here's how you can identify somebody who'd be good for arrest, but don't arrest them. Let us arrest them. But here's how you do it if you want to. I mean, you shouldn't, but if you want to. Let's give them what they asked for. Thousands of applications, except our applications are going to be a little different. It's time to flood ICE. This call to action was prompted after ICE's plans to launch its own ERO-focused Citizens Academy came to light. Newsweek reported on a letter sent out to stakeholders by ICE Chicago Field Director Robert Guadian? Robert Guadian. He's the flame swordsman, Yugi. Outlining aspects of the program, including scenario-based training in defensive tactics, firearms familiarization, and targeted arrests. Yeah, literally, this is exactly what they were doing. They were training people to identify and make arrests on basically racially profiled people. Since this letter came to light, ICE has sought to make clear that it will not be teaching participants how to make arrests, but showing how arrests are facilitated by ICE agents. Do you realize how bullshit this is? This is literally just covering their ass. This is in Minecraft. This is what they're doing. This is the right-wing version of in Minecraft. The agency also said that the program was meant to educate the public and strengthen ties with U.S. communities. Immigration advocates... Oh, thank you. Oh, thanks, Yug. I play the flame swordsman and equip kunai with chain. Since calling on followers to flood ICE with bogus applications, the Never Again Action Group told Newsweek on Wednesday that thousands of fake requests to join the Citizens Academy program had been sent in to ICE. The applications have been sent from people from all walks of life, from immigrants in the U.S. to K-pop stans, the organization said. Indeed, some faux applicants shared their applications for the Citizens Academy online, with one individual writing, "As a citizen and self-proclaimed academic, I am highly interested in applying to your Citizens Academy. I am so vigilant, strong, intelligent, courageous, and smart, as my ex-wife likes to say, not afraid to overcompensate. Here is an unordered list of the boots I have enjoyed licking," the applicant goes on to say, before listing a variety of types of boots from combat boots to galoshes. "As you can see from the above list, I have the necessary experience for the Citizens Academy. I look forward to helping you in your anti-fascist efforts," they write. The letter is then signed patriotically by Abe Olishe, a name that bears striking similarity to one of Never Again's oft-touted slogans, "Abolish ICE." Abolish ICE. That's actually really good. Another letter was signed with the name Dwight K. Schrute, a character from the popular sitcom The Office. A sender writes that as a volunteer sheriff's deputy, I possess superior talents for investigative procedures and gathering intelligence. Oh, hey, OT Marty. It's going great. We're laughing about a really, really good bit of trollish activism that was done against ICE. It's real good. Figuratively, nobody says, "We're not telling you to go kick cats. We're just hosting a seminar on how to best kick cats and what you need to know about kicking cats." Yes, literally. Yeah, trollish activism. That's a discussion for another stream. Not like this. "I've studied multiple martial arts forms at the advanced level, as well as the combat styles featured on the television show Battlestar Galactica," the writer says. "I know my way around paper, so I can handle the bureaucratic aspects of being a vigilante," they say in a reference to Schrute's job at the Dunder Mifflin Paper Company. "I have a dog-like obedience to authority," they add. "Also, I have unrestricted access access to immigrant agricultural workers as the owner of a beet farm. So I have the ability, the motivation, and the opportunity to terrorize any brown people I come across as soon as you show me how to use deadly weapons. In closing, please give me this job. I'd walk over hot coals to get it. In one tweet, a user calls on K-pop fans to send in your favorite K-pop lyrics to ICE. Wait, OT, do you want someone in here who is slightly right to play devil's advocate in here? I mean, if you want to, if you're interested in that, sure. We welcome any people with all kinds of different perspectives and interests and political opinions. Just be respectful and don't use slurs and shit, and don't be rude to people. That's our law. We really encourage political debate. I do a lot of debate content. Just don't be a giant dick and you'll be good to go. That's basically it. If we start, the only things that we really kick people out for is like blatant conspiracy theory spreading and other stuff like that. Yeah. I mean, there are reasons to be an asshole. It's just usually not in chat. There's not really good reasons for it. So, wait, what? Just use God's menu to apply the ICE Citizen Academy and called their institution flawed and racially biased, the Twitter user wrote. While many fake applicants sent in humorous applications, some struck a more serious tone, with Twitter user Dash Kiwatkowski imploring ICE agents to please consider the amount of hurt you are inflicting on people who simply need asylum. Please consider how your actions will be reflected in history. When history looks back at America and the humans who worked for this country to tear families apart and throw people into cages, consider what side of history you will be remembered as being a part of. You are hurting families. You are destroying lives. It isn't too late to quit. It isn't too late to stop punishing the innocent. You can still quit. The ICE Academy is set to move forward starting on September 15th, with training sessions being held every Tuesday from 2 to 6 until October 20th. Yikers. Democratic representatives have sought to prevent ICE from being able to dedicate funding to the program, however, with the House Appropriations Committee adding an amendment to its 2021 Homeland Security spending bill, barring ICE from using money for its ERO Academy. Citizens Academies are nothing new, however, with the Department of Homeland Security agencies, including ICE, having launched such courses in the past, with an ICE Citizens Academy first being launched under the Obama administration. God damn it. This is why we say Obama did a lot of fucking fucked up shit too. I want to hear devil's advocate on how it's justified to steal children from their parents, lock them up, and spray them with chemicals. This could be good. Well, okay, to be fair, Otono Aji, I don't know if they were referring specifically to the devil's advocate on this, but yeah. Newsweek has contacted ICE for comment, and they haven't responded yet. Oh, yeah. I mean, of course, we all know the Obama administration was the one who built the facilities. However, they weren't using them. Having them and using them is actually, believe it or not, a different step. But of course, our approach to border enforcement, our approach to immigration has been monstrous for a really long time. And Obama was a part of that, keep in mind. Obama deported a fuck ton of people really brutally, and he utilized these structures that were built by Bush, like ICE, to do so. The problem is that all presidents are using this extremely troublesome force. Oh, yeah. Let me see if I can find you that, because that would be really interesting. Give me just a second to look up this article. In fact, if I remember correctly, it was actually Never Again Action was talking about this. Here, let me see here. Yeah, here's Democracy Now! Talking about it. Oh, this is a small report. This was an early one. Here, we can look at it anyway, though. In immigration news, a complaint filed by two immigrant rights groups accuses Immigrations and Customs of Enforcement, ICE, of spraying a likely hazardous coronavirus disinfectant over 50 times a day at the Adelanto Detention Center in California in poorly ventilated and crowded areas. Prisoners there have reported nosebleeds, fainting, headaches, stomach pain, and a burning sensation in their skin after coming in contact with the chemical. In related news, at least one asylum seeker held at ICE's Port Isabel detention facility in South Texas has entered his second week on hunger strike to protest squalid conditions and lack of protection against COVID-19. In fact, I believe a number of immigrants who have been held in detention centers have contacted their lawyers about this, and there are ongoing cases. Essentially, there is like an industrial disinfectant being used, and it's not being used responsibly. This is meant to disinfect empty areas that people are not in, and multiple people have reported that there are ICE agents basically using chemical sprayers and just blasting it into cells full of people that are just like packed shoulder to shoulder, and that this shit is designed like an industrial disinfectant. It contacts their skin and it causes chemical burns. It's not designed to be sprayed on people, and it's being sprayed on people. And this is in addition to all of the other widely reported conditions on the border camps. It has been well known that ICE has been forcing those who have been keep in mind those people who have been apprehended and put into detention facilities have been living in squalid conditions. They're often put into, it's well known and well documented, this is publicly available information, that ICE uses cold rooms. Essentially, they use concrete rooms where the temperature is kept deliberately cold or deliberately hot in the summer in order to punish people who they're keeping in detention, people who have no choice to leave. Hey, Southyard, thanks for the follow. Deeply appreciate it. Figuratively, nobody says, I don't understand the but Obama did it first argument. I haven't seen anyone defend Obama on that. It was wrong then and it was wrong now, especially now that it's being taken to extremes. Yeah, there have been activists, there have been immigrants' rights groups. Most of these immigrants' rights groups have been fighting against this since its inception, and they fought Obama on it too. And I agree with you, Atono Aji. If the condition you keep someone in would be considered animal abuse, maybe your facility needs to be shut down. Absolutely. But also, animals should not be kept in horrific conditions as well. I will agree that much as well. But yeah, the camps that we have on the border are absolutely concentration camps. They're horrible conditions, even basics. Literally, there was a public Senate hearing, congressional hearing about the fact that ICE was refusing to give basic resources to people who are detained there. Keep in mind, these people are political prisoners. They haven't done a crime. I mean, they've done a misdemeanor, I believe. Crossing the border is considered a misdemeanor, which is, by some definitions, technically a crime, but it is a categorization of crime that's specifically designed to not be severely punished. So people who've committed, at worst, a misdemeanor which is almost impossible to avoid, because if you're a refuge seeker, if you're a refugee, you have a right to come on to American soil and declare your refugee status. The thing is that they're picked up before they can declare refugee status, and then they're put into a concentration camp. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I haven't been reading your comments yet because I've been trying to catch up on comments and also talk about what we've been talking about here. The horrible conditions. Actually, the thing is, though, OT Marty, there are people who do defend this. In fact, Donald Trump has defended this. Donald Trump's administration has defended their treatment of people on the border camps, and the border camps are terrible. They're terrible. How do you determine a concentration camp? A concentration camp, there's a number of definitions. There is a number of definitions from different organizations, but generally a concentration camp is any place where people are held, any place where a number of people are held in a contained area against their will, and that group of people tends to share a specific characteristic. So, for example, if you are housing a whole bunch of brown people, a whole bunch of South American people in a camp, in tight quarters, in bad quarters. That is a concentration camp. Concentration camps are where you put undesirables, political undesirables. Generally, they need to have, there's a number of definitions, and by the way, our camps meet all of them. Some people think that concentration camp is identical to death camp, which isn't the same thing. However, concentration camps usually are essentially death camps. And keep in mind that most of the concentration camps in Nazi Germany, people died because of malnutrition and illness, not because of being executed. So concentration camps are bad in and of themselves. Yeah, they can't. Yeah, people can't leave. Yeah, that's why they're in prison. They can't leave. And they're on wait to be deported. It's absolutely punitive. It's ridiculous. Also, keep in mind that many of the people there who are kept in these camps left the country that they left because they were in danger. Because they were in danger. They're a refugee. People just don't want to confront that fact. Despite the fact that we literally have the tools, we even have the institutional tools necessary to support refugees. We don't, because it's a racially motivated hate campaign by our president. That does not make sense. Why would the U.S. people... That's a real good question. It's a real good question. It's almost like there's a much bigger problem. It's almost like the issue is that we're trying to punish people as a fear technique to try and discourage other people from seeking refuge in our country, despite the fact that not just international law, but U.S. law allows them to come here and declare refuge, and also that our determinations of refugees are particularly strict. Wait, fallen puppy. An economic migrant is a perfectly legitimate reason to flee your country. If you literally are going to starve and die in your country, going to a place where you can find a work is perfectly legitimate reason. It's not fiscally motivated. It's not. We have so much money. This is not fiscally motivated. This is racially motivated. Our country is by far the most wealthiest country on earth. We spend so much on arms. We spend so much on like, just look at how much we spend on random frivolous shit. Our country has so much money. We have an incredible amount of money. We just don't even want to abide by international law. We don't even want to abide by the laws that we agree to. We just want to be able to do whatever the fuck we want. And our current president absolutely is racially motivated. Why do you think all of his speeches... Wait, the U.S. is so far in debt. Okay, so you just don't understand anything. You do realize that national debt is literally an abstract concept that largely is wielded for completely diplomatic reasons and has nothing to do with personal debt, right? Like, national debt is used as leverage between countries. National debt is necessary to the way that the economy works around the world. Because the thing is if a country is indebted to you, they're much less likely to go to war with you. Our national debt has essentially no meaning. National debt is a complete fucking hoax. Like, yes, it exists, but the argument that national debt is like something that needs to be paid back like your own personal debt is just not true. It's simply not true. That's not how national debt works. There are nations owe us trillions and trillions of dollars. National deficit is like a diplomatic and economic tool. It doesn't actually mean like we're missing payments and that we're going to get evicted from the United States of America. That's not how the world works. We hold an incredible amount of resources, and those resources are way more than whatever imaginary debt we have. Yeah, money is not the issue. It's the distraction. Yes, literally, the money machine just goes burr. Yes, literally, it does. Donald Trump just did, what was it now? Like fucking, how many trillion did he just dump away? Yeah, that's literally how it works. Yeah, money is, like, our money system is like fucking magic. It makes no sense. Are you kidding me? Like, deficit hawking has always been a distraction. Notice how Republicans don't ever talk about the deficit when there's a Republican in office? Do you notice that none of the Republicans have talked about the deficit at all? Even though Donald Trump literally issued a stimulus that was like triple the size of Obama's stimulus? Remember when Obama issued the stimulus and then all of the Republicans were like, oh no, the deficit's going to go up. And then when Trump did it, nobody said shit. It's because deficit is not meaningful. As it is literally it is not meaningful in how we actually fund things in our country. Completely meaningless. It has no bearing on that whatsoever. Wouldn't it be in our favor to economically allow in immigrants anyway? Yes. In fact, I can get that information. I can get you the studies right here. Immigrants are phenomenally good for the economy. They're literally a net benefit. There is only one group of people who are negatively impacted by immigrants, and that is an incredibly small slice of the population, aka no, that's not true. Literally, that's not the case. The deficit is a meaningless, not meaningless. I shouldn't say it's meaningless, but for most of what we're talking about, it's completely meaningless. There are nations owe us tons of money. We owe nations other money. It's a consideration in how like currencies are valued, and that's it. Deficit hawking has always been a misdirection because the deficit it's not like a bill like we have to pay. It just represents deals that we've made with other nations, and it doesn't take into account deals that other nations have made with us, nor does it take into account what we actually hold for resources. No, that's not what that means. Oh my God. For this discussion, money is essentially a non-factor. And keep in mind that the cost of refugees is negative. When we bring in refugees, when we bring in immigrants, our economy benefits from that. It's racially motivated. That is literally the reason. Also, it's very visible in the sort of language that's used by people like Donald Trump. Let me just bring this up. Let me see if I can find this data. I have it here somewhere. Yes, here we go. Here we go. I have all of these papers. I can give links to all of this shit. The National Bureau of Economic Research paper on the effects of immigration has on wages in the United States. The study contends previous analyses on the relationship between immigration and wages falsely assumed perfect labor substitutability between immigrations and native workers. Research shows that the average American wage rises due to immigration, both short-term and long-term. The only native demographic whose wages drop at all are high school dropouts, who suffer a decrease in wages of approximately 2% in the short term, alleviating to 1.1% drop in wage over time. These costs are so low that you could introduce other cheaper things to bump up the wages of high school dropouts, and you would still be making money, and the average American would still have a raise in wages. This is why the deficit argument for immigration is complete and utter bullshit. It's not economically illiterate to take a mildly Keynesian view of government spending, but it's very economically suspect to dismiss that view out of hand because you're shaky on the practical difference between national debt and personal debt. Anyway. Study finds new immigration does severely impact wages of prior immigrants, which suggests a lack of substitutability with currently Native Americans. Overall, the vast majority of American workers' wage increase from immigrations, and this alleviates over time. And it would be incredibly cheap, therefore, to target, or what's the right word? To target with legislation the wages of that 1% increase of high school dropouts. So you could say make a program that says, hey, if you're a high school dropout, if you didn't complete high school, here's a tax refund, and it would make up the difference in lost wages while boosting the wages of every other group in the United States. International debt it is not a consideration on our national spending, except for things for like the military. You could argue that deficit maybe matters for the case of the military, but we're talking about the military, which is like the military's budget. Let's look at the military budget right now. Let's look at the current military budget. The current the current Department of Defense's budget authority is $721.5 billion. $721 billion for 2020. Now that's where you might start looking into some actual things where our spending on the military is so unfathomably high that it might actually impact our economy. But other than that, national debt has basically no bearing on our domestic policies in that way. None of the propositions we're discussing here about immigration would even have a dent on the deficit.